They should be put up on a pedestal like they wanted to be as the 6 clubs, the 6 great big clubs. They were on that pedestal, putting themselves up there. We'll come out now and answer some questions because that's what the fans deserve.
When you really think about it, I don't know how they thought they could like just come in and do that and get away with it and not consult the fans. Not consult the fans.
I think now's the time that fans have to have their own say in running of their own institutions.
Yeah. You already know the vibes. Looking in with the guys. Steven, Rio and Joel. I got tuned into 5. You know the vibes, you know the guys, you know the trio. You know it's Steve, you know it's Joel, you know it's Rio.
Yes, guys, we've just woken up. We're on the way to Manchester. We've got a shoot today. And it's crazy because what unraveled last night with the this whole shambles of an idea of a project of the European Super League has just collapsed on his face, and rightly so. I couldn't have woke up happier. Straight into my little boy's rooms. Boys, it's over. The shambles is finished. It's collapsed. My boys were delighted. And I don't know, it's been an incredible last 48 hours. It's been a whirlwind of just madness, hysteria, created by people who are non-football. And it's so evident that these people have got no touch, no finger, no attachment to real society. The way that they've gone about their business in the dark, behind closed doors, a closed shop, of just that small group of people trying to manipulate and trying to navigate football in a way that they see it best, without one bit of consideration for the general man, woman in the street, the public, the fan, the people that drive this game. And people talk about the word stakeholders in the game and always mention the media, which I'm a part of, the football clubs, etc., the governing bodies. No, it ain't. We've realised today that it's actually the fans. The real people, the real main stakeholders of this game are the fans, because when they've woken up and they've spoken, shit's happened. And this new idea brought together and about by billionaires, again, who don't even come to the games, very rarely go to the games, they probably don't even have an idea, a complete idea of the offside rule, if I'm honest, have tried to take the game away from the people. They've tried to take away a competitive spirit of the game, what it's built on. Fair play, which sometimes comes around, is it just a bit of marketing? But no, it's not. This game is built on those principles. Relegation, promotion, rewarded for winning. Not rewarded for being average, rewarded for being mediocre, rewarded for not achieving, rewarded for not striving, rewarded for just giving up partway through a season because, we'll be here next season anyway. It's pointless. What's the point in exerting so much more energy and resources because we got next year anyway? We ain't going anywhere. That ain't football. That might be other sports that sometimes I enjoy watching, but I'm not passionate about like I am this football. It's mad because I just feel that this little group of people, they tried to prey on the weak. We're in the middle of a pandemic where people are struggling, where people have got what they would have said, they've got bigger fish to fry, they've got bigger things on their mind, more important things to think about, like their livelihoods, like their jobs, like their health, their family, etc., than thinking about what we're trying to hatch, this little idea over here. So we'll sneak this through, we'll put it through on a Sunday night, put the statement out, and we'll just sweep it under the carpet and we'll get it gone. And then we'll be up and running. Our companies, our institutions that we've taken over will double in value, triple in value at time maybe, and we'll all swan off into the sunset, that bit richer. But they failed to really get their understanding of what the current temperature is in the football community, in the world at the moment, that people are being brought together more and more when situations aren't right. We've seen it with George Floyd. The way that the world just stood up and was like, we're not having this. A man has been convicted of 75 years today because of the public bringing it to the attention of the authorities and making sure they understand that this ain't going to be stood for. And hopefully this type of thing continues in terms of the response of the public, the people. And the same thing with football. The football community, the football culture, these people didn't understand it. They didn't understand the people that love this game. That there's a culture here that people were clinging onto that's been built on over 100 years. of competitive energy, of a competitive spirit, a competitive culture, that the fans will refuse to be allowed to just be driven out of the game through sheer greed. And I think they just preyed on the weak. They thought the weak people, they thought people were going to be weak. They thought people, this was a time, the perfect time to hit people. Because this idea weren't hatched overnight. It weren't 6 months. This was like a year, 2, 3 years of thinking. The big institution like JP Morgan don't come in here and just do overnight bit of business on something like this. There's resources put behind it. There's manpower put behind it. There's financials put behind it. And for it to collapse the way it is, there's going to be ramifications for the clubs, yes. But it's collapsed. And the big thing that happened when they hatched this idea and they went public with it on Sunday night was there was no real explanation as to what they were doing. There was no real explanation as to, like, this is what we're actually, our idea. This is why we're doing it. The pyramid of football is going to be fed. The money's going to trickle down through all the different layers. The grassroots are going to be looked after. Women's football is going to be a part of it. Everything's going to be spread, etc. They never had all these ideas that they give us. And that element of deceitfulness, that element of creating a cloud over it so we can't see through the cracks and have a look at it and people can't pick at it, that's another element that's led us to this point where the fans have said, we ain't having this. We don't know anything about what you're trying to do. You're just trying to take it away, and it's through sheer greed. And to think they could come and do that and get away with it is just beyond me. They're not in touch with reality at all. And then we fast forward 48 hours or whatever it is, and you wake up to the news that one by one, like dominoes, these clubs are falling away. No, it's got a bit hot in the kitchen. I'm coming away. That's not enough. A statement ain't enough. Arsenal, the only team out of the English teams that's made an apology. My club, Man United, haven't apologised to the fans, to the people who work within the club, are attached to the club, to the football fraternity in general, haven't apologised. You think you can go and do this and just say, put a vanilla statement out due to the uproar, etc. We've changed our mind, and that's it, and get away with it. No chance. There needs to be a face put to this. Whose idea was it at each of them football clubs that said, listen, right, we're in for this. Fuck everyone else, we're going to go in with this. Who else? Who's the face? Who's the person? Because it ain't the club. Everyone's saying the club. It's not. If there's an individual or a little cluster of people who have gone, this is us, this is what we're going to do, this is what our football clubs stand for. And we're going to disregard the history of this football club and what it means, the values of this football club, and go ahead with this. Who is that person, or who is that little group of people that done that? Because they need to come to the forefront now. They wanted the spotlight when it was going into, if this has gone ahead as a European Super League, they wanted to be in that spotlight. Now come out as the individuals that done this and read that statement and be there for questioning. Be questioned on it. We want to know the answers. It's all vague. We want to know why you went forward with this, how you thought that the fans would be okay with this. What was your reasons behind doing this? You can't just come in and run the institutions of this football club like Man United, Liverpool, all these big football clubs, the 6 clubs that we've got, and think you can just be a faceless person that just throws out little ideas here that you think are just going to be not going to affect anybody, but then all of a sudden you see the uproar and the turnout and the fallout that happens. And I commend them Chelsea fans that went to Chelsea and were going bananas. I was thinking I'd love to see more people doing that, because these people need to understand. But you can't just come out and give us a little blanket cover-up story and not tell us why. Ed Woodward's resigned. I want to know why. Where are you, Ed? I know you personally. I want to know why. Was you part of this? They're the questions. I could sit here and hammer Ed Woodward. I could sit here and hammer the Glazers. I could sit here and hammer the owners of all these football clubs. I don't want to waste my time doing that now. I just want answers. They should be put up on a pedestal like they wanted to be as the 6 clubs, the 6 great big clubs. They were on that pedestal, putting themselves up there. Well, come out now and answer some questions on them pedestals, because that's what the fans deserve. They need the answers. This has left a disgusting taste in everyone's mouth. Clubs that they've supported over the years, their granddads, their granddad, their dads before that have all supported these clubs, and they've carried on that support for these football clubs, continually spending money to travel the length and breadth of this world to support their teams. And they're not even one little small consideration of your fault when you try and make a decision like this. It's a disgrace. It's bang out of order. So yeah, you can say, put out a statement that you stopped this European Super League. You're not going forward with it. That's not enough. We need more. We want answers. That's the next phase now. 100%. Pointing the finger. We don't know who to point the finger at right now, other than this. Definitely the owners, because they're the only ones who can make these decisions. Now, the people that sanctioned it, you need to come out from the darkness now, the wilderness where you've kept yourself all these years, and speak. Joel Glazer's made 2 statements over the last 48 hours. I've not heard a statement from Joel Glazer regarding Man United for years. You need to come out and speak, because it's our club. We love this football club. What you guys have tried to do to this football club and where you've tried to take us, with the fans' heels dragging, and you expect to be able to come out and put out a measly statement and just get away with it. Nah, it can't happen. You need to speak. Come out, put your face in front of this camera and speak. Come here. Come on our YouTube channel if you want. I don't care where you do it. Please just let us hear what you got to say. And we put out some questions on Twitter actually to find out, like, where is everyone? What's the temperature? And that's one of the key points. These people, Perez and all these owners, did anyone in that building, are there any of their advisors who they'd have had sitting there making notes and doing the minutes in these meetings? Would any of them people been sitting there and going, do you know, whoa, can I just put one little question in, please? How do you think the fans are going to feel like this? Do you think we'll get this through with the fans? No one's even said that in these meetings they've had, because they've had loads of them like, via Zoom or whatever they've done, or Teams. Has anyone said that? Like, what would the fans think here? Because they are quite an important element in this whole piece of the jigsaw. That ain't been said. They've just probably thought, fuck them, they have to come. Even if the hills are dragging, they're coming with us. Because if they love their club, they'll go for everything for their football club. They'll bleed for their club, so we'll just take them, it's fine, they'll come with us. We'll get them by hook or by crook. That's the vibe, that's why there's a bitterness. So, let me see, we put some questions out on Twitter. So fire us in your questions so we can see what people are asking, what they want to know. Should the top 6 clubs be deducted points next season? And that is from Kian Flannery 2 on Twitter. Yeah, I do. I think the club should be deducted points. I think you can't do something like this where you step away from the Premier League and think you're just going to go, you know what, fuck yous lot, I'm going to do what we're doing and we'll be back later if we want. There has to be ramifications. There has to be some sort of deducted points. It's not about cash. Forget the money. It's about deducting points, making people understand that if you do something like this, if you think about doing something like this, there's going to be huge ramifications for your football club. So think very carefully next time and go through all of the thought process before you sign on a dotted line with a group of people like this. Because if you don't, it'll happen again. 100%. Next question from CI26045, Chris Lau. How do we stop greedy football owners from running our sport? That's something else that needs to come into play. There needs to be some sort of legislation put in place. I think the government have got involved now, so there needs to be some sort of guidelines that are there that protects football, protects the football clubs, protects the grassroots, all of the areas around football. That there's so many different layers to it, needs protecting from people coming in that are going to try and tear our game down and take it away from the core principles that this game's been built on over the years. So yeah, I think there's going to be some legislation put in place going forward, because you can't allow for this to happen. Our clubs that are institutions in this land were actually en route to being taken out of here and taken into a European league away from here, never to be seen again. Another question from CK Chris Niverton. Do you think the Glazers will finally sell up Rio? Well, listen, man, I was there when the Glazers bought the club. Yeah, they've taken money out of the club. The club's in debt. the way that they leveraged the club. And to be fair, I saw Gary Neville last night, and I have to say, all the guys in the media have done an amazing job, by the way. Gary, Jamie, Graham Souness I saw last night, the guys at Sky, BT, our guys who have done some amazing stuff, all the different media, the radio, etc. All parts of the media have done an amazing job in talking about it and making sure the fans understand that you've got to speak out, and the players. Massive respect to people like Jordan Henderson, James Milner and Bamford after the game. That's what I'm saying. These owners ain't fault. You know what? Our team are playing, by the way, today or tomorrow. They're going to be in front of the cameras and they're going to have these questions thrown at them. They weren't even blimmin' like advised. They weren't even told. Thrown on their lap while they're preparing for a game, go out for the game, finish the game in front of these players have been put in front of the camera. Where are the people that made and answer these questions? Where are the people that have made these decisions to answer the questions? They should be the one answering the questions. It's actually out of order that these players have had to go out there, your players, and answer these questions on your behalf. It's a fucking liberty. It's bang out of order. And then the managers are having to do it. Tuchel, Klopp, you can see why Klopp was so angry. It's out of order. He don't agree with it. They've never once asked him, a geezer who's brought success to that football club at Liverpool, like not seen in the Premier League era, got him to an unbelievable place now, and you don't even consider him. You don't even speak to him about your plans going forward. He has to come out and face the media and answer questions. No wonder he's pissed off. It's out of order. No respect. No respect. People that are enhancing your investment as well. No respect for them. But no, where was we? Will the Glazers finally set up? Yeah, I was there when they bought, and it went off, and the new scarves are brought out to try and get them out. But these guys, the Glazers, they rode that storm. They're hard-nosed. They didn't care, came over, upped their security at times. They were on tour with us at times. Security around them was massive, and rightly so, because the Man United fans weren't happy. And if Man United fans could have got at them at them times, they would have. But the security was beefed up that much they couldn't get near them. So they know the temperature of the fans around the issue of buying Man United Football Club. They know there ain't. And actually, over the last couple of years, that temperature has kind of got cooled a little bit. And you think, actually, they've rid that storm, and they'd think, you know what, we're past that. And they go and do this. It shows you they just don't care. They can't care because they probably just think we're so far away, this don't really affect our day-to-day life. Whatever decision we make regarding Man United, is it really going to affect us? We don't really go there. We don't really stay there often. We're not at the stadium on a regular basis, so what's the problem? Let's just do what we've got to do. That's the way it comes across. But that's why I want answers. Is that the way you thought? That's what you want to ask the Glazers. I'd love to be able to sit here and ask the Glazers, is that what you really thought? The owners of all the other football clubs the same. Did you really just think, you know what, I don't really go to the games anyway. I ain't that asked. I'm that far away. I can't really be touched. So it don't really affect my day-to-day life. So I'm cool. We'll just make this decision, boys. Run with it. It's cool. I ain't gonna get in any aggro or anything like that because I'm not there. Is that how you really thought about this? Because you think if you're an owner of a football club, the way we see it as football fans, you've got a care and duty to the history of the football club and the people, the real stakeholders who are the fans, and the players, and the managers, and all the staff that work at the football club. But it doesn't come across like there was any care at all for them people. Another question. Who is the leading runner to replace Ed Woodward? I couldn't care less right now, I don't know. Sorry. Richard Keenan? I don't know. I just want to see Ed Woodward come out of some sort of interview. We're here, Ed, if you want to speak to us. Pick up the phone, man. You got my number. I'd love to speak to you and just pick your brains about what's going on here. Was you part of the conversations from the beginning? Was it just thrown on your lap like it was ours? I was live on TV when this just got thrown on our lap. Was it like that for you? Come out of nowhere, you can't believe it. Disgusted? Are you happy? Are you all right? Was you all right with it? Was you at the meetings? Were you disgusted with it like we are? These questions I want to see answered, man. Wow. Sorry guys, this has just popped up on my phone. We have let you down. I am responsible. You must have heard us before talking. Liverpool owner John W. Henry apologises to their fans, Jurgen Klopp and the players, and says he won't walk away in the wake of the Super League fiasco. Wow. Well, we've just been sat here for the last 15, 20 minutes asking for these owners, the people that were at that table deciding to go away in this European Super League. We were asking for information, answers to questions. Just checking here if he's... It goes without saying, but should be said, that the project put forward was never going to stand without the support of the fans. Well, why didn't you speak to the bloody fans then? Why don't you test the temperature of the fans? Why don't you speak to your manager at your football club who's in touch with the fans, to the players who live in the communities nearby where the fans are? You have to deal with the fans on a day-to-day basis. They'll be able to give you the right answers. No one ever thought differently in England. Over these 48 hours, you were very clear that it would not stand. We heard you. I heard you. I'm glad you heard us. And I want to apologise to Jurgen, to Billy, the chief executive, to the players and to everyone who worked so hard at LFC to make our fans proud. They've absolutely no responsibility for this disruption. They were the most disrupted and unfairly so. This is what hurts most. Our work isn't done. Well, in your eyes it isn't. You wait till you get them fans. You know what? These guys are lucky that there's no fans in these stadiums at the moment, because they'll be ripping the place down. Wow. Again, I'm sorry, and I alone am responsible for the unnecessary negativity brought forward over the past couple of days. It shows the power of the fans have today and will rightly continue to have. If there's one thing this horrible pandemic has clearly shown, it's how crucial fans are to our support, to our sport, and to every sport. It's shown in every empty stadium. It's been an incredibly tough year for all of us, virtually no one unaffected. So if you thought it's been really tough this year, why would you even think about joining this stupid thing? It's important that Liverpool Football Club, the family, remains intact, vital and committed to what we've seen from you globally. I can promise you I will do whatever I can to further that. Maybe selling the club might be the best thing you can do, mate. Wow. Well, that's the first owner I've seen come out and actually speak. So I congratulate him on that. But still, man, Jesus. They never knew the power of the fans, for one. They never knew the response they were going to get from these fans. They never considered the fans. That's what that tells you. They never considered the fans. They don't know football, man. They don't know what it's like. These owners are obviously, they want to be there for the long haul. Will they be allowed? Let's ring Steve, man.
Yo,
What's happening? So you seen this all unravel last night, Steve, and then this morning you've woke up to it. What's your feelings on it all?
feels mad, Rio. Like, the last 48 hours. Do you remember Jose Mourinho got sacked? Do you remember that?
I know.
It feels so long ago. We had, obviously, Woodward resigned. We had the ESL completely collapse inside 24 hours, really, from... There was a bit of a rumour, wasn't there, that, City are going to pull out within 10 hours. The whole lot of the English clubs, at least, have pulled out. I think Perez is just ringing around like Besiktas and stuff in a minute, seeing if they can take out of the European Super League. Like, I don't know what to expect today. Conor McGregor banged a tweet out last night saying, I'm thinking of buying Manchester United. This week, I think we have to almost like put that somewhere and say, well, that might be real. Like, the way this week has gone, that might be the least crazy thing that's happened.
Crazy. I can't believe it. Have you seen the statement put out by John Henry from Liverpool?
No, I haven't seen his. No, what's he saying?
He's just come out and done like a video recording statement saying that he's terribly sorry for what he's done. It's down to him. Never thought that it would cause such a stir and didn't understand that the fans actually realised what it means to the fans, and had to respond because of that. Sorry to the players, sorry to the fans, sorry to the manager. Nothing like this will ever happen again. They're here. They want to rectify things with the fans and build bridges again. That type of thing.
Well, prior to that sounds like a pretty good statement, to be fair, and the correct sort of thing to happen. Prior to that, I believe in the actual club statements, Arsenal were the only ones to apologise.
Yeah, they were.
All the rest of them was a bit more like, all right, I guess you don't want this then, but didn't really make any kind of apology about it.
Yeah.
What do you think this means for the Glazers now? Because there was a lot of talk last night came out of they might now have to sell. For me, I'm sort of warming to the idea that they kind of always had this plan, this 50+1, not 50+1 thing. I sort of think that they always had this European Super League thing as a plan. I think this is something that they've been thinking about maybe for a long time. Maybe it was even in their heads when they bought the club. When you think about how much debt they left on the club and didn't really seem bothered about ever clearing it, maybe they was waiting for some sort of massive future payday. Maybe this was it.
Yeah, that business model makes sense now when you look at it now. I think the fact that the debt's never been paid off or even attempted to be paid off screams that they were looking to build the club to the biggest value they could get it and drive it to that commercially, etc. And then we're going to flip the club. That's the way it looks to me. The way when you look at the whole business model now, when you've seen this little plan that's been hatched, and it's seemingly by the American-style owners, them people that they wanted to make it an American-style sport, and taking out that relegation and promotion process, and just allowing the rich clubs to get richer and bigger, and probably double, treble their value, and then that would have been the moment they probably would have flipped the clubs and sold them. So it looks like that now, but what does this mean for the Glazers? I spoke about this before. I was there when they bought the club and I saw how disgruntled and the uproar with the fans. But they rode that storm, man. These guys have been through that mill before. I think this will be worse, if I'm honest. But at the same time, how often do you see them at the stadium? How is this going to affect their life on a day-to-day basis? I don't think it will. And from that standpoint, I still think that they carry on with their mission.
Well, as in, keep going and try to flip the club at a future date?
Yeah, I just don't. Why go now? They've been involved in a shitstorm before at the club. People going crazy, doing marches, etc., saying they're going to stay away. Got it back to some sort of normality again the last couple of years. You'd think that they think, you know what, we've got through that. Let's keep it on an even keel now. But then all of a sudden, this rears its head now, and they're back to that position again where they're being hated. Ed Woodward has been the puppet almost at the front, who became public enemy number one for Man United fans for a long time. And he was the person that rode all the punches and had to take all the beatings from different sectors of the Man United fans. He's gone now. The spotlight is shining absolutely on the Glazers now. They went into the background for many a year. They're back at the forefront of people's minds now when they're thinking about what's not good for Manchester United, and that's a fact. This situation has just highlighted that even more. And I said earlier on the show, they need to just come out and speak. John Henry's done the right thing and come out and spoke. But I've got to be honest, they need to be put through the mill. They need to be questioned. They need to or answer all these type of questions that we've got. You'll have all the fans around the world. Why did you think about doing this? What was the pros for you to do this? Did you think about the ramifications, the pushback from the fans, how this affects fans, what their feelings would have been, the history of all the clubs that you're taking away from the Premier League and the Champions League? Have you considered that? Did you think actually that the competitive spirit and culture of football is being swiped away in one full swoop? Did you consider that? All these things, and there's more questions even than that. They're just the ones on top of my mind now. But there's so many questions that need to be answered that they should not be allowed to just walk away from just putting a statement out and carrying on with their lives again. It shouldn't be allowed.
This was real as well, wasn't it? Because I'm seeing a couple of people saying this was always just to make the new Champions League format more palatable. But I don't think that the PR shitstorm that we've had would have been... I don't think these 6 clubs in England and the rest of them around Europe would have been happy being the fall guys for anything that comes new in the Champions League, or even just to get a bit more money in the Champions League. I think that when you hear statements from Daniel Levy, which was he didn't anticipate the backlash.
Yeah.
How did you not anticipate the backlash? Are these billionaires just literally talking to other billionaires and getting the answers that they want? There's no one ever spoke to them real, ever.
That's the problem, I think, Steve. There wasn't anyone in that room who had their finger on the pulse with what modern society is about what the real football fan, their feelings on something like this. That's why I say they were never considered, because the question was never definitely 100%. The question was never raised. What do you think the fans may think about this? That question was never put in place. That was never ever put out there in these meetings.
Not even thought about asking.
No, it wasn't. So that's why we're here. And all the statements are like, oh, we didn't realise that the fans would be like this and the reaction would be like this, and we're reacting to now how the fans are feeling. Well, if you'd have asked the question at the beginning, your PR would have been and your image would have been in a much better state than it is today, because no amount of money right now that you feel that might change the new format of the new Champions League going forward, no amount of money is going to rectify or re-establish your image to the way it was.
In 2005, I was on them protest marches about not selling the club, and the club got sold. At no point since then has it ever felt like we could get rid of them. We had David Beckham wearing a scarf, which felt like a real pivotal moment. We had the massive banners in 2010 inside the stadium. We've had riots. I was on all the different flash mobbings that we had at Ladbrokes and Nike and stuff like that. It felt impossible that we could get rid of them. Whereas last night, we was live till midnight last night covering this, because it was never ending. The news was just constant, and I'm sure today's going to end up similar, I think. I actually genuinely feel like if we keep pushing, that real change could happen, not just at United. I'm talking to the Mayor of Manchester in a couple of hours, and I'm going to say, is there any way that we can now push for legislation for fan ownership the same way as it is in Germany, that 50+1 rule? Because that would have prevented this entire thing from going down like this. And I think looking at the debt that some of the clubs have been allowed to run up, I think it's time that football gets a bit more responsible. And clearly it's not been able to govern itself. And clearly the plaything of all of these billionaires, how many times, even if you go back to like Thaksin Shinawatra at Manchester City, that guy was a billionaire, but he was a crook. And how many times does it end badly? It seems to end badly more often than it ends well. We've had countless different owners at likes of Leeds and stuff like that, and it's always ended badly. I think now's the time that fans have to have their own say in running of their own institutions. And I think that we have to keep pushing. 50+1 for me is the right thing.
I think the pivotal movement maybe now is that you had Macron, Boris Johnson, Sadiq Khan, government figures have opened their mouth around football. And going forward, they can't have opened their mouths now and then go quiet now. So I do believe legislation would be brought in, but it's who is part of that process of drawing up that legislation as well that's going to be key. And yes, that model in Germany, I agree, is a great model. And you have to tip your hat to these German clubs and Paris Saint-Germain as well. They steered well clear of this. They saw the shortcomings of this whole situation and were strong enough to say, you know what, this ain't for us. No matter how much money you're promising us over there, our morals are more than that. And that's why the clubs that will benefit out of this more than anyone, out of this fiasco, will be Bayern Munich, PSG, Dortmund, because they were brought to the table and they done with a firm thank you, but no thank you. Huge respect for them clubs.
Like I said before, the PR that's going to come out of this in a negative sense for the 6 English clubs, like the 14 remaining Premier League clubs all got round together yesterday, didn't they? And they was like, nah, not having them. And I think that right to now was like, I don't know what legal sanctions that the Premier League can put on everyone, but if they sanctioned United, I think we'll have to take it on the chin as United fans.
Deduct points. You've got to deduct points. Deduct points. I'm a Man United fan. I want us to win the league. But I'm sorry, you've got to be deducted points now, because you can't come in and do that and have no discipline. That'll just say, you know what, we got a slap on the wrist. Let's draw something else up. Let's include the fans this time to appease everyone, and we'll go again in a couple of years. No, you've got to make people think twice. There needs to be something put down now so people go, you know what, if we're going to come again with some sort of mad idea, we better make sure every base is covered. Well, it ain't been this time.
Yeah, Yeah, I think you're right. I think regardless of how this ends, I mean, it does feel like the end of it as well, which is good. But regardless of how this ends, we are only 2 years away from someone else coming up with another crazy idea like this.
Yeah, but they've got to realise now that they've got to consult the fans. That's what I keep saying. The real stakeholders in this whole world of football is the fans. And media, football clubs, governing bodies forget that sometimes. And we're all guilty of that. But this has really hit home now that the fans are the real stakeholders in this game.
It wasn't fully unanimous, because I have seen the occasional comment for people going, I don't think it's that bad. But you're talking about maybe 0.5%, maybe.
That's a small fraction, isn't it?
0.5%.
You're always going to get some idiot who says this, oh, it's a good idea. I want to see Man United play Barcelona every week. But anyway, listen, Steve, I'll let you get to work. I'll let you get to the office, mate. Good to speak to you. And we'll catch up later on. I'm sure something could happen later that we're going to be on the phone again later. So I'll see you in a bit.
Oh, today's wild, isn't it?
I know.
It's going to go absolutely west.
We've just started moving. So I'll be in Manchester soon.
All right, see you in a bit.
All right, mate. We've got Joel Beya tuning in as well. Let's see what he's got to say.
Yes, guys, absolute crazy day, of course. Listen, man, I'm a bit surprised that it got cancelled because of the way it was moving so quickly, but I'm so glad that something was done. I've never heard football have such a voice before. You know what I mean? It was crazy, news by the hour, and I'm seeing the Liverpool owners come out and apologise. Obviously, Arsenal have come out and apologised. I don't know who else has come out and apologised, but I think that was a stance. That was a stance when the fans speak. You know what I mean? When you really think about it, I don't know how they thought they could like just come in and do that and get away with it and not consult the fans. Not consult the fans. That's a big mistake, man. And I don't know what the ramifications are now. Are there going to be lawyers getting involved, fines, all that stuff? This, you know what I mean? Ed Woodward's gone now. I know he works for the Glazers though, so it will be interesting to see what the Glazers themselves do. Kroenke, all these guys, man. I want to see what the next steps are. But I'm glad that the football community has spoken, and that's it. Vibe with 5. Joel Beya, I'm out.
Well, guys, what a mad 48 hours of that crazy, crazy, crazy world of football we love and breathe every day. Listen, man, just stay posted, stay connected. Make sure you keep your notifications on, subscribe, keep involved. Vibe with 5 is going to be here. Make sure you comment below. I want to know all your thoughts and feelings. This is an emotional time. We all love the game. We're all emotional about it. But please, below, keep your comments coming in and we'll fire straight back at you.